So welcome everybody, and biggest appreciation to you all for showing up and for being here and being part of a little experiment for many of us is to be able to connect in through Zoom, and it is just an absolute delight that you're all here. So if your microphones are all muted at this point, that's great. I appreciate that. And what we're going to look at now is we're going to just start. I want to just give you some idea about where we're going to go to with the process. So we're going to start off by talking about let's sabotage the saboteur. And the person who popped this idea into the vortex is Fran Feynman. So thank you to Fran for dropping that idea or that concept into the vortex for us so that we could begin there. And when we start to understand what it is that we are sabotaging, the saboteur piece, this part of us that sometimes prevents us from showing up in the most excellent way in this life journey. And this, the sabotaging, this inner saboteur that we have is pretty much one of these ancient cords that are part of this inner dynamic that we seem to hold, where we hold some kind of cord or some kind of thought or belief system that we're not worthy, or we don't deserve, or we're not enough, or we have no imprint or no message to give. It's the sense that we are not full and we're not complete. And it is that I would love us to look at today. So before we begin, let's just get comfortable, everybody, like sort of wriggle your bodies. And we're going to be here for about 40 minutes, and please be very welcome to jump off and on as you need to. It's not school lessons. So wriggle your body a little bit. And let's just drop all our energy and our awareness right down and into the base of the body, and down into the earth, and ground and connect. And then we hold a sense of our being connected, aligned, and receiving. And then imagine that you're opening up your heart so that you can also receive whatever might be of great value to you, and whatever might bring you to a place where you are able to move in this world with more grace, more elegance, with a deeper sense of assuredness, which is what would be lovely for all of us to move in that way. So let's go on from there and come into the next space where we're going to look at what it is that we are going to do in this little short while of being together. And we're going to unwrap some of the aspects of the saboteur, and obviously there are many of them, but the aspect that we are connecting in today is that piece about deserving, whether we deserve or not. We're also going to look at some of our embedded codes, these codes that sort of sit inside of us that are almost like our default settings, and often those default settings come back all the way from our line and our lineage, and they come in through the ancestral stream as messages. So we're going to look at those. And then we're going to knock the socks off the saboteur by tweaking this little idea of deserving. So we're going to turn a dime and go to another place and just bring in another energy space in our being. And we're also going to bring in a different energy of grounding and connecting. And at the end, I'm going to open the microphones and we'll have an opportunity to chat to each other if that can happen. So good. I hope that sounds like the direction you're willing to go in. So let's talk about how we connect and how we work together. And really, if we looked at all of us and the way we move and interact in the world, we are just taking a walk together. And sometimes the people who come into our lives walk quite a long way with us, and sometimes some people just come in for a very brief moment, take a little walk with us, and then walk out of our life. And however it is that we take these walks, it's not the length of the journey that is of value. It is the impact of the journey that creates the value in our lives. So if you were to think now just of your own life and the people who do share your life, and think about who's been there a long time, And what has the impact been for those who've been there a long time? And then think of perhaps some who've come in and been quite recent in coming in. And what is the impact for them in your life? And how have they touched your life in just being there for a short while? So when we connect with people, and I really, this is one of my little bug things, when people says, hello, stranger, I haven't seen you. Well, it's not the seeing of the stranger or the person. It's not a performance that we are requiring of each other, that I better show up and I better be here so that you can feel secure that we are in a friendship and in a relationship. It is really the quality of the relationship. Whether we see someone every day or every week or every 10 years, it's the quality that endures and holds us through the walk of our life and our journeys. So if you were to imagine that we're holding this ability to connect to each other, and right now we're just connecting, and for a while we're going to walk together, and one way or another your life and mine will find a way to create something of value, something beautiful, and that is my dearest hope, that we have this opportunity to connect and hold each other. So let's look at the old voices. These old voices that we've all had in our lives, that have had these messages about life is not a bed of roses. So we've had these signals come in from our family members, and one of them I remember hearing a lot when I was little from the people around me, particularly the adults around me. They would say, life is not a bed of roses. And it would be always said in a way that was depleting and depressing, and that life was hard and it was just awful and there was so much suffering and you had no choices in it. And there was this misery that went on in our lives. So right now, if you would go into the chat, and if you know of an old message, an old voice, and if you can remember it, go ahead and type it in there, because I think it will be hysterical to gather all these old messages and put them in a book, because they are really quite amusing. But it's amazing how they go as a subliminal message. They just sit underground, and then they peek their little nasty little faces out every now and again and give us that sense that we're not worth it and life is too hard. And how about this one that says you've got to suffer to be beautiful? And I remember that one. That was such a difficult one for me as a child, you know, because you always wanted to feel like the beautiful child, the pretty child, the accepted child. But there was the suffering that had to come in to being able to be beautiful. And so many of us still live by that today. We still hold this idea that in order for us to be acceptable or seen or to be honored, there has to be this immense amount of suffering. And we design the level of suffering that we are willing to embrace in our life. We actually create that suffering because of these old messages. We can't simply say, well, life is amazing. Life is a bed of roses. Life is what I've planted in this beautiful bed of roses. And when I get up in the morning, I get to walk into my garden and smell the perfume of all these incredible roses, because I planted the seeds for them to be there, so I can embrace the perfume of them, and I can be present with this beautiful garden that I planted with my intention, knowing then that it would give me enormous pleasure and happiness because I planted this garden, this bed of roses. Same message, but a different way of coming into it. Another one that came into my family was this one: stop being so selfish. Oh my gosh, I hated that one. And I have a very big problem with that stop being selfish message. It's the same thing that teachers, and I'm an ex-teacher, some of you will know, will say to children, sharing is caring. Well, it's not. It's not appropriate when you fall and you want to tell someone you better share. It's like ripping something from their arms that they dearly love and hold and cannot see that there's a possibility of sharing. This message of stop being so selfish is a huge one. Another one that I grew up with, there was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. And when she was good, she was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was horrid. And you can hear this old voice, how it comes in. There's so much judgment and self-persecution and self-loathing inside of that voice. And a friend of mine shared this one with me. You can't always get what you want. Really? You can't always get what you want. So let's try and look at that one. So you can't get what you want. But if you have a want is a desire, a want is a longing, a want is for something that is awakening in your heart. And if it is your desire and your longing, it needs to come through you. It's awakened in you so that it can come through you. And so let's just relook at what it is that we would understand with our longing and our desire. Try and understand what it is that we would get from our being if we stepped into that which I truly desire is my want, and that which I want I can create, just like the bed of roses. I want to come and look at some of your comments. I'm popping back into comments quickly. Hang on. Let me see. Oh, money doesn't grow on trees. Oh, I so wish it would. Yeah, so what does that say? Money doesn't grow on trees, so there has to be this endless amount of misery because the money doesn't grow on the trees, so it's not going to come easily to you. So then there's this little encoded message that it's going to be a difficulty and a struggle. This one, a school of hard knocks. You'll be laughing on the other side of your face. Oh my gosh, this is not a holiday camp, says Jossie. Yeah. And Kerry, you can't have your cake and eat it. Come on, Kerry, let's have it. Have the cake and eat it. Why can't we have both? It's just ludicrous. Let me see. You're riding the crest. Oh my gosh, then you're so right. Because this one, if you're riding, okay, no, you're riding the crest. This is Sharon. Sharon said that one. You're riding the crest. What does that say? Doom, foreboding. You're about to fall. Nothing can last forever. It's this terrible awakening of an insecurity in our being. Very good. Okay, Lynn says, a hard day's work for a fair day's pay. Ugh, I just want to puke when I hear that one. It's just dreadful. We have to cancel that one immediately. In fact, we have to make a scorching and burn it. Erica, regrets. Oh, if only I had done this or that. Yes, if only, if only. Those if onlys can torture us, and they will torture us until the day we die. Okay, that's good. So thank you. Oh, those are brilliant. If anyone thinks of any more, throw them in there. I honestly think I'm going to start writing a book of them. I think they're hysterical. So the next one we're going to look at is the thoughts and the feelings that come about if we are going to entertain these old voices and we're going to claim that they are the truth without examining them, without seeing if they are even worth holding and still holding as these anthems. If you can imagine that we create a whole set of beliefs and thoughts and feelings from what it is that is coming through these old voices that are embedded and encoded into our being. So you could hear in lots of those, there is the self-loathing. You could also hear that there are a lot of repressed thoughts and secrecy, that we wished we had this, we wished we had that. If only I could get this, if only that was available to me. And the other feeling that we can sometimes get when these codes and these anthems are talking into us, we can sometimes get that delightful little passive aggressive little aggravation going on. And when we start experiencing that passive aggressiveness, it's either I'm going to show you that I can do better, that I'm not going to live by this code, and that little assertiveness or that little aggression is going to pump some adrenaline into our system, and we're going to focus and channel our energy into proving everybody wrong. Or it could be an underlying passive aggressive. It's like always self-defeating and little ways to sabotage each other and to sabotage ourselves. There can also be this rebellion that can come in, which is delicious actually, if we can be a little rebellious, because that can give you a lot of courage. And in stepping out of your saboteur, you can move a little quicker. And there can be remorse, that dread, very much that if only code comes in there. If only I'd done this and that, if only I'd remembered. This remorse and a feeling of being remote, disconnected from the availability of what it is that we would truly love, hope, and desire. And then comes the feelings of being blamed or shamed or guilty, or the feeling of dread, angry, resentment, and being spiteful perhaps. So if you've got any of these feelings coming into your being, this feeling of being shamed because you're doing well, when you're riding a crest, there is an underlying waiting, eagerness, anticipation of the hyenas out there who are not willing you forward, to see you self-sabotage yourself, to not do well. Okay, this is a huge one now. So imagine if there are enough of these hyena mentalities around and they are waiting for you to fail. You're riding the crest of the wave, money doesn't grow on trees, you just wait, you'll see, life's not a bed of roses. If this theme is going on and we're still holding it and believing it and allowing it to continue, we're not just sabotaging our own ability to find our highest potential, but what we're also doing is we're sabotaging one another from not reaching their potential. But imagine then if we stood in another way, not as hyenas waiting for them to fall so that we could be right. I told you you'd never make it. I told you life's too hard, that you've got to suffer in some way. If we change the way we move and we change the way we walk and work and talk with each other, so that we gather up connections and collections with people, and as we're walking with each other on these little journeys, that the quality that we give to each other is to not be the saboteur of ourselves or each other, but is it to actually help each other to accomplish and to achieve, to cheer one another on, to promote one another and to inspire one another, so that we can reach our potential. And I'm going to just say something else on this. If you imagine just one of us reaching a potential and one of us becoming successful, it is as much the success for you as it is for them, because it makes an opening and a potential space of expansion. It opens up a vortex into expansion rather than into contraction and depletion. And another way to really look at this is that if we had to imagine ourselves as if we are one little healthy cell in the body of all that is, and this one little cell that I call me decides to really be well, to be as well as it can be in this life journey, then every other cell also has the potential to be well. And so if I'm willing to say that I'm willing to be well, then I've got to go into this cute little thing about, and I deserve. Oh, okay. So now we're going to play with and I deserve. Quickly in the chat, tell me if you instantly, if I say and I deserve, can you say yes, absolutely, or is it maybe, depends, or no, I don't deserve? So maybe do a yes or a maybe and a no. Okay, so Maggie, you say yes, so you feel like you can deserve. This is good. Erica, yes, yes, yes. Sharon, yes, absolutely. Vulla, maybe. Dorette, yes, I deserve. Melanie, I almost cringe when I hear I deserve statements. I don't always feel worthy. And that is so absolutely truthful. Hello, my darling Melanie, all the way from, I think you're in Scotland or Greece or somewhere now, aren't you, my precious? And Stephanie Fran says, absolutely. Okay, that's good. Yes, Carol Lynn, why would I? Very nice, yes. Okay, nice. Oh, Fran gave us another funny comment. Our grass is always greener on the other side. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, most of you are saying yes. Maybe in my human self, we feel like we can deserve. Love it. Dorette. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, my darlings. So let me give you a sense now of what it is that, that we understand about our deserving. I'm going to just give you my picture and then you can think about your picture. So as some of you know, I just love to paint. I love to do watercolors and I've got a cute studio. So you would think, wouldn't you, that I would decide when I wake up on the days that I'm free to bounce out of bed and to leap into my gorgeous studio and to start painting. But I have a little saboteur who sits there and has a little thought all of its own. And my little thought about painting is that one must suffer before one can paint. And I know it's ridiculous, and I don't know exactly where it comes from, but I can tell you it has come from one of those old embedded codes that I'm still unraveling. And it's a real journey to try and unravel this. So if I decide I'm going to get out of bed and I'm going to go and paint, do I just do that? No. First of all, I'm getting dressed, I'm getting ready, and then I think, oh no, the basin needs a little cleaning, so I'm going to clean the basin. Oh, it's so dusty in my room. I'm going to clean my whole room. I'm going to make the bed, I'm shaking it, and oh no, wait, no, I've got to wash all the linen. So I'll start doing that, we'll wash all the linen, and then the pictures must be changed, and so it goes on. It's absolutely ridiculous, this game that I play with myself, as I distract myself out of the thing that I really want to do. And what I'm doing is I'm sabotaging myself from doing what it is that I really wish, hope, and desire. And while I'm doing this, I'm feeling a certain sense of pain, because all the time I've got this little thing that says the daylight hours are going, Joy. Get to do what you need to do. Go and paint and go and have some fun. And now it almost gets to that point where I cannot go and paint, because if I start a painting, then I've got to be there for many hours, because I cannot after that now think, okay, I actually have a responsibility to be a human being and need to interact with people and maybe make supper and stuff like that. It's not going to happen, because once I start painting, I just switch off from the world, and me and the painting, we become one. So my inner saboteur is that one. It's to clean and to do everything else. And underlying that is a little note of, do I deserve to give me this time to just play and just enjoy and just create? So this is when the beliefs and the concepts about our inner saboteur, our sense of deserving, become really, really locked into our system. Because it is at this point that we can start feeling like we are sorry for ourselves, a victim inside of the situation. Well, hello, who made it? Who created it? C'est moi. I did it all on my own. I managed to make this mess all on my own. And a sense of being a martyr. You know, I can't get things done and I need help and no one's going to help me. But I'm creating it, and I don't know that I can create it because I've been told that life's not a bed of roses and that life's hard and that you've got to struggle and you've got to deserve it and you've got to suffer to be beautiful or creative or gorgeous or fabulous. So I have this sense that comes into my being now of betraying myself, betraying the worthiness of who I truly am, and betraying myself by not presenting my gracious gifts and the most valuable aspects of who I am to the world. I'm just hiding them all inside of the self-depleting, minimizing, collapsing vortex. And then awakens that sense of futility. Oh, it's no good anyway, or oh, I can't do it anyway. It's that feeling of not being able to do anything. Hopelessness, a sense of hopelessness. And then we start to blame and shame everybody else. Nobody supports me. I've got to clean this house all on my own. Or I would love to hear you talking about that one. We love to throw the reason why we're not doing what we should be doing towards everybody else. It's actually everybody else's problem. Have you noticed? Good. So do I deserve? Let's play a little game quickly. Doesn't that little chocolate drink look absolutely delicious? Try and remember this when you were a little one. And when you were given an absolutely delicious treat, something that you really wanted, something that you absolutely loved and couldn't. And when somebody gave that to you, what did you do? Did you do A, eat it all up quickly? Or did you do B and savor it slowly? Or did you do C, you probably kept it and probably untouched and probably forever? Or did you do D and you really didn't care? Give me some sense of those, if you would. And let me see about, let's come back and let's just look at some of those together. Okay, let's see. Nice. So, okay, so Kerry says B going on C. Bulla says keep it. Oh, Bulla, you so the girl after my own heart. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I would have done. It's ridiculous. Friend, mainly A, if my sisters were around, yeah, quickly get it before anybody else gets it. That's probably a good idea if you've got a lot of siblings. And B, Sharon said B, and that would just be to savor it. Eat it all up quickly, says Melanie. Okay, that's lovely. Good. This amazing little game that was played. Sorry, wrong one. With these children. And while they were doing this, distracting these little children with this marshmallow, and while they were thinking about it, sitting on their chair, and they could eat it all up, or they could wait a little while and then hopefully get a second one. There were all kinds of interactions going on in those little children's minds. And you could watch these children. They were sitting on their chairs and they were trying not to look, and they were turning away, and they were fidgeting, and they were playing, and they were in quite a lot of anxiety over this. But some of the children ate it up right away and didn't give a damn. They just decided that they were going to have the marshmallow, better the one they have than the hope of the one still to come. And so think about who you are when you consider the thing that you give yourself, and what are you actually saying to yourself as that child? Did you say to yourself, yes, I deserve, yes, I can have this, and yes, I can give it to me, and so you did give it to you? Or were you the child who said, it's so wonderful and I value it so much that I can eat it slowly, and I'll eat it slowly perhaps because there might be another one, or it might be a long time until I get another one, or perhaps I just value it so much that I am willing to hold it for as long as I possibly can. So what is your mind thoughts about as a child? Because as a child, our thoughts are very clear. Or did we just not touch it? We just left it and didn't eat it, didn't touch it, and let it get stale, and then you would never eat it. And think about the message that is in that. That's a huge space of, I'm not ready to have it, or I don't deserve to have it, or I don't deserve to give this to me, or there's some requirement that needs to be met before I can give this to me. So listen to the underlying message. And in the last one, for those who might have thought that they really didn't care one way or another, pretty unusual for a little child to not care about that treat, especially if mum or the the experimenter knows that the thing that they are offering them is what they really want. So that's quite a hard one. But if you didn't really care, it would say a lot about the sense of where that child is. So let's just settle into our bodies for a moment. Just come into your body awareness. And I want us to go back a little moment. So just get comfortable where you are. Take a nice deep breath into your body. And as you breathe out, just let your body relax. And then imagine that you can go back to that moment when you were a child and something that was delightful was offered to you. And try and go right back to the feeling that you connected into at that moment. And was it a feeling of anticipation and delight? Was it a feeling like, right now, I wish I could have that? Or isn't it wonderful that I'm getting this? And isn't that person so kind and generous to me? What is the feeling that you can imagine you had as a child when you were given something? Because right at the very beginning there, you created an anthem for yourself. And try and listen to what that anthem is. Is that anthem saying, there might be lack and I must save it? I don't deserve it because I need to suffer in some way or pay some price? Listen to the anthem and bring yourself back to your adult awareness and think about another, while you are an adult now, offering and giving you something. And think about how you receive it or don't receive it. Listen to the words that you use. Something is being offered to you, and the person, you've not asked for it. You've not told them they better, should, or must. That person has a knowing of your need, and that person wants to touch your heart with a loving gesture. And how do you receive it? And understand the anthem that you hold now. What is the anthem that you are holding right now? Do I deserve? Or will I sabotage my being by saying, no, I don't deserve, I can't have it, I'm not worthy? Listen to those inner messages. Just hold it in your awareness. Beautiful. Wonderful. So let's go on. Let's talk about whether I can give to me. Can I truly give to me without guilt, without shame, without blame, without self-persecution, without self-loathing, without regret? Can I possibly allow? Imagine the field of energy that you have around you. And imagine that you create inside of this field of energy around you an energy of attraction. What would this energy of attraction of yours look like? Would it be, I'm drawing towards me abundance and wellness and prosperity and happiness, and I deserve it because I'm a worthy being, because I have the potential to step into my highest and most amazing being, and if I can be that, then I'm one other amazing being in this world in a world filled with so many beings that are walking here wounded in very much a broken state. Can I give to me? Ask this into the deepest space of your being. And can I give to me without guilt or shame? If somebody gives something to me, do I immediately feel guilty or beholden? Ooh, that's a very sticky energy. Like I've got to give something back, that I can't have this with just having. I'm listening to myself right now. I'm there. I'm in that place. Yeah. It's not so easy for us to receive. It's much easier for us to give, but to receive is a very tricky energy for us. Somehow, it is one of the hardest energies that we can, is to receive. And think about how crazy that is. In order to survive, in order to live, we've got to receive and decide that we deserve air and oxygen and life force energy, and we are to bring it in and receive it. But most of us walk around this world shadow breathing, barely breathing, just in case we breathe in too much air. Just in case we don't deserve all this delicious air that is available freely, might I say, and abundantly, might I add, to us. Can I give to me without guilt, without shame, without blaming, without self-persecution, without self-loathing, and without regret? And the place where we begin to experience that is right here at the throat. Just like this little throat, this little portal is going to let you breathe in some air, and you're going to bring the air into your body, and the body is going to be much better because it's got some air in it. But the throat allows. The throat says, well, you can have so much and no more. We can cut off our receiving of nourishment and nutrition here at the throat. We can decide not to give our body, and we can decide to starve ourselves and deprive ourselves. This little throat is our portal of allowing. So let's hold your awareness there, and let's go into a sweet space. If I believed I deserved, how would I be right now? So I want you to drop into the space. We're going to do a small little guided connection and hold this moment of, if I deserved right now, if I believed I deserved, how would I be right now? So we hold that space and hold that thought. Imagine yourself receiving abundance. Imagine yourself glorious, spectacular, and beautiful, however you interpret that for yourself. Imagine yourself doing extremely well at that which you love to do. If you can imagine it, and you can create the images as pictures in your mind, then you are already, through your sensory being, connecting into the possibility of that which you are simply imagining right now. Imagine you doing something that you've always wanted to do. Hold that idea and begin to paint a picture in your mind of what it would look like for you to be doing that which you've always loved, showing up in your most excellent and delightful way. Your mind-body does not know the difference between the imaginary world and the real world. So let's paint the picture in the imaginary world, where there is space for great expansion and possibility. It is a limitless place in which we can thrive. Go ahead and be completely ridiculous in what it is that you are seeing and imagining for yourself in that sweet space. And imagine yourself receiving and allowing that as more comes in through your imagination, your whole being is just saying, I am in my delight. I am delighted. See yourself dancing with glee. See yourself singing and laughing and running and playing and being happy in that which you delight. Make the picture as exquisite as you possibly can. And now we activate. So there is your picture. There is the willingness to be in that picture. And now drop down into your heart. Understand that the picture that you have created is unique to you. If each of us were to take a canvas right now and to draw and paint or describe what it is that is calling us, that is our deepest desire, it is exactly that uniqueness that we will see. Each and every one of us has a unique longing, a unique desire. And this is just a memory. It is the very first agreement. It is our ancient agreement to be. It is a remembering. Your mind can only create from what it is that it is feeling within the heart. The heart has the code and the memory of the initial agreement, your sacred and divine contract. So feel your heart, and what is my desire? And what do I long to do, and how do I wish to show up in this world? And as you feel the beauty and the happiness of this space, understand your uniqueness is like one piece of puzzle in the great puzzle of all that is. That if your piece is missing, then there is a missing place. That you being here right now is the greatest gift for humanity. And it doesn't matter what you accomplish. It doesn't matter what you earn. But what matters is that you show up in your delight, in your divine light, your sacred calling. And that you at least hold it in your mind, because your mind and your thought and your imagination then begin to create an energy, an electromagnetic field. The moment we can come into our heart, we open this heart space and we begin to feel that which is our greatest potential. And the moment we begin to feel it and get excited to be in it, and not shut ourselves down with a saboteur that says you don't deserve it, or how am I going to do it? Just forget all the hows, leave all of that at the door. We're only playing in the imagination right now. It is possible for me to anticipate something that is so beautiful, so immense, so incredible. And it is a gift that is awakening in me. It is my divine gift, my unique chord, my unique code. And if I were not to bring this in, there would be a gap that nobody else in the entire world could ever fill. Hear that as an absolute truth. I cannot be you and you cannot be me. We are unique and beautiful in every possible and conceivable way. There is room for everybody to be magnificent. I applaud you in stepping into your magnificence, knowing that there is space for everybody to be beautiful and to be seen upon this great puzzle of life. And the more we show up and the more we show, the greater this beautiful grid begins to glow. Just being here is the greatest gift that you will ever give. Lovely. Take a nice deep breath in and ask yourself now, if I believed I deserve, how would I be right now? As you feel the space inside you right now, how am I right now? And who am I right now? Feel the immensity of your energy world, your energy being, your delightful being. Feel the immensity of you, divine being of light and love. So as we are inside of this deep space, it is here that we have the chance to change the programs, to undo all those ancient anthems, and to see them for what they are. They belonged to a place and a time where people were endeavoring to struggle and survive in the most difficult situations, where the nature of competitiveness was the nature of manipulation, deceit, lies, and distraction. And that if we are to continue to stay inside of that aspect of our being and our expression of our being, then we are to stay inside of a very depleting energy, and we will not survive. We are to thrive. We are to step across into a whole new field of energy, and that is to thrive. If you can hear that and hear the possibility that you thriving, you deserving, you creating a new anthem in your being is an opening of light and potential for all life to thrive. Beautiful. Well done. So we hold a new anthem. We hold it in our heart. And each time we come back into this place of just feeling and listening and recognizing those old anthems and those old painful chords, just spend a moment there and know that they belonged to a community of people with belief systems and structures that enabled them just to survive. There's nothing wrong with them, because at that time that was the way it was being seen. But it is our delight now to change and turn that dial, to turn it and to tweak it into a much higher frequency. I deserve. And I release all my saboteurs, all the pain and all the self-sabotaging acts that I do and create. Just release them. Let them go, because if you don't, they cannot go. Lovely. I'm so proud of you all for being here and for holding that space. And may this continue to bless you and hold you. Gently bring your awareness back to the space that we're sharing now, as we hold our energy together and imagining that we are all over the place, some very far. And thank you for holding that thread of consciousnness of light from wherever you are, because what we are doing is we are making like a spider web of light, and we're bringing it into a much higher frequency. We change the frequency when we change our own frequency. And so this is the gift we give. Oh, sweethearts, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And so if we are through with this piece, then we can connect again. And just so much love. Do well and take this into your life, and then look out for the guided connection. And I hope that continues to support and hold you. All right, sweeties. Love you all. Thank you for being.
we can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be